Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for coming for this Actors Roundtable session. And I think, Irene, as you pointed out earlier, we actually do have a round
Indeed.
table.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a literal round table. I've
Yes.
never done this
We're
before.
all equal here.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're all equal.
I almost felt like we are some knights in the olden days, you know.
That's the whole point.
Just need some mug of
Well, I
beer.
tell you what, we are knights in the modern day, right?
Okay.
In the
Cheers,
modern
cheers.
acting day and media day.
Skull.
Yes. But this is, in fact, the very first session that we're doing as part of the +65 film project. It's all about celebrating media content creation in Singapore. And actors, I think, front and center are really part of what that all is. So just going to be chatting today about your own journeys, ups and downs, joys, tribulations, everything in between. We'll see how we go. I might ask you each to introduce yourselves a bit and share insights into just your own journey as an actor, and no particular sequence, or whoever wants to go first. Well, you nodded very thoughtfully.
Lim
Yu-Beng,
Yu-Beng,
so
ladies
go ahead.
first?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What? Come on.
He with the most hair.
That's right. So I'm Lim Yu-Beng, and an actor, known primarily as an actor, but I actually do a hell of a lot of other things within the field. So I act, I write, I direct, I do fight choreography, I'm a lighting designer. And I think that has shaped me, the fact that I kind of do everything. I come from the theater and, in the days, like back in the 80s. So in the days when we didn't have anything. So you pretty much had to do everything yourself. And I think that has shaped me. That has contributed to how I see myself in the acting space. And I think that it has made me demand certain things of myself and expect different parties, because I've kind of sat in many different people's seats, expect how we can work together.
Feeling of having to do everything ourselves, I seem to have the impression, speaking for myself, that's not just in the past, it's now as well. But let's hear from
We'll
everybody.
get into that.
Even
Yeah,
more.
we'll get into that. Irene, what's your, how did you come into this?
Well, I was a former athlete. I say former because nowadays my exercise includes walking from my Zoom calls to my fridge. So I was a swimmer, water polo player, national fencer. And so after school, I became a stunt woman. So I started from a stunt woman. How I eventually got to PCK was because I was Wobby, audience warm up for years, 3 years, 4 years. And then when they need to fulfill the quota for the casting, they said, hey, can you please come? I was like, okay, I'll do you a favor, because they're all my friends already, Jen and all that. So I went in and then lo and behold, I'm stuck so I wasn't the kind of person that in school I thought when I grew up I want to be an actress. I only wanted to be an athlete, or a policeman or a lawyer. Actually, it's in that sequence. But yeah, so I don't know how I ended up in that role, but I think the mantra that I always have is wherever God puts me, I want to be the best in something. So when I became a comedian, I wanted to create my own path, and I decided that I wanted to be two things. The most untrained actress who can survive. I want to prove that it is sustainable, and therefore then later on, having been in the industry for a while and working with all my theatre people, I was so in awe of their talents. I decided that I need to create a business to make sure that they can make a living with their passion. Because at that point when I first joined in, there were a lot of very good actors who drop out, go back to become lawyer, engineer, blah, blah, blah. And the ones that stayed are struggling financially. And so I said, what can I do for them? And then I realized I have a flair for selling people as a former OG sales girl. And so I started that journey of representing, knowing nothing about contracts, about artist management. And along the way, I just grew and learned. And we are very fortunate that now we have 52 artists across Asia. Last month, I launched a new app, which is to help everyone that's starting or young and old. It's called I'm Casting, which unfortunately, because of that, I don't have much time to act. Which I have more time to be an actor? Today, acting it takes up like 10% of my time in the industry. The rest of the 90% is a whole slew of other capo things I want to do lah.
Well, speaking as a serial and serious movie nut, I understand being serial and serious, but it's interesting because the journeys are all, some people wander into it, some are in like
Accidentally.
an adjacent part of the community, of the space. Siva, how did you become an actor?
I wanted to be an actor or director when I was 9 years old.
Mm.
And that I knew that was what I wanted to do because that's all I could. We never had internet back then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all we had was either we are catching spiders or we are playing catching or hide and seek. But while everyone was doing that, I was doing that as well. But I was watching a lot of movies because mom still works in United World College. She's the ama who takes care of all the kids who come and stay here in the hostel and all that, right?
But you
So-
live in a hostel.
No.
Oh.
So, I mean, she goes to work, she comes back. But when the kids leave, they can't pack up a lot of things. So they leave all the VHS, the
Wow.
tapes and all that. So that's how, so mom brings back.
Wow.
So I used to watch one after another, and I was so attracted to what was happening there.
So you had your own Netflix collection.
Yeah, something like that. So we were just, I used to watch, and playtime was also that. My brothers, I remember putting the tissue box, and they put the toilet roll here. And
Acting lah.
then I'm the camera, and I'll scold my brother, no, you cannot act like that, you saw. No.
Oh, so fun. Yeah, you
That
shoot
was
must act like
playtime.
that, lah.
Yeah, so that was playtime. Toy guns were, used as props.
yeah.
And they have the toy set. Remember the gun with the handcuff and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So those were used as props. It was not like a serious game. No, they're the props. You don't touch it. It's
Yeah.
mine.
Wow.
And then I'll draw posters. And I'll draw posters of my characters.
We're
And my
own movie
grandma,
poster.
and my grandma was like, I remember my grandma used to tell my parents, something is wrong with that boy because he's talking alone. And he's drawing at the same time. But I was doing my dialogues.
Yeah.
And then after that I'll draw and I'll put up there, directed by Sivakumar Palakrishnan.
Aiyo.
So I was already manifesting it. I didn't realize I was doing that. And school started and it was not that great in school because in school I was the only Indian boy who joined the Tamil LDDS. And
who
the
were
rest
the
were
other
all
people?
girls.
Oh,
The rest were all
only Indian
girls.
boy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was the only
Thinking,
Indian
that's not
boy.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I was like-
that's a good
And my
thing,
teacher
what?
said, Siva, you know what, you're the only kid, I can't use you alone because I need more boys. So, you know what, I'm going to do a dance group with the girls. Maybe you can join something else for CCA. And I was like, okay. And that's how I did join the English LDDS then.
Yeah.
And just like any other kid, I was the kid that was standing at the side of the skit that we put up, when we create awareness about all that. So that's how my, journey in acting started. And I became a DJ first. I was a DJ in a club. I was one of your DJs in one of the events.
Is it?
Yeah. There was one of the nights where you organized and I was your DJ.
Really?
Wow.
This is this is so long ago. And I remember I was packing up my vinyls. My mom said, hey, I just saw an ad on Vasantham. It says they're looking for new faces, actors, and to play a hero or villain. That word villain was
Attract
the
you.
one that caught me, man, because I've always liked
Drama.
villains. Very dramatic.
Yeah.
Be it our Hong Kong movies or, the guy who's, against Chow Yun-fat or,
Yeah.
in Tamil dramas or whatever it is. I love the villains. They were cool. Right? And they always had some nasty dialogue that was very interesting.
Yeah.
So that caught me, and I remember the audition was in Buona Vista CC. And I went and I had no idea. They gave me a script and I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Same.
Idea. Then I remembered what my playtime was.
I was about to say.
And that brought me, and Kabir was the first director.
Oh, wow.
Haha.
I didn't know Kabir then, and he was the one who was sitting there at audition. He taught me, got in, and
The rest as
and my
they
I love
journey
it.
just started from
Oh,
there.
that's beautiful, man.
history.
And then I met Raja Gopal, and he became my teacher, and I became a director also.
Yeah.
So that just went on, man. I'm still doing it,
Good things happen to good
Yeah.
people. That's one common thread I'm hearing. How did you become an actor?
He's just good looking.
Yeah.
Right, that's all.
That,
And then after that, then they realize, then he start learning how to act.
He's the
Are you
secret
sure?
brainiac, actually. Yeah, to be honest, I never really wanted to be an actor. So I've always wanted to be an economist or something like that.
Something
But
intelligent sounding lah.
no lah, make money lah.
Oh,
Yeah.
something more practical.
Economists doesn't make money. Bankers make
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
So when I was maybe during my army time and my university time, I worked as a part-time model to supplement and have income lah, to pay for my uni. So at that point of time, I think when I graduated, MediaCorp saw my portfolio. So what they say was, hey, we're looking for talents. We would like you to join us. So I said, I looked at it and discussed. And at that point of time, I was absolutely not interested in acting. I was not familiar at all with the entertainment industry. I didn't watch Channel 8. So I only watched like pretty much Western films and cartoons and stuff. So at that time, I was not interested. It didn't work out. So I went out to work in a corporate job. So about 3 years later, I was going to take my MBA, and MediaCorp came again, right? It said, we have a single episode drama that we would like you to act in it. So would you be keen, right? So I said, single episode, okay, not much commitment.
Yeah.
So I decided to try it out. And apparently I did okay. So after that, they came to me again and tried to offer me a contract again. At that time, I was like, okay, I have nothing to lose. I was apprehensive because it was never really something I wanted to do. And I consulted some of my senior and respected wise old men that I knew. And then they say, you're young, you're not committed, you don't have a mortgage, you're not married. Try lah, And there are pretty women in the industry lah. So I'm like,
That too.
okay, all right. So I decided to sign a 1-year contract. So I didn't have the privilege of trying different aspects of the industry. So I was pretty much taken and dropped right into the deep end. Because my very first drama, I was kind of like one of the male leads. So I was just doing what I felt was right. And in that sense, I think
you didn't go through any training,
not at all.
right?
Not at all.
Just give you the script, okay, perform.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, let's just do lah. But I think in that sense, it was good for me because I liked it because it was very, very natural. I have absolutely zero technical skills. And for me, it appealed to my right brain. It's like, I'm not a very emotional person. Actually, I'm very objective, right? I don't really get emotional. So in that sense, this allowed me to explore my right brain, the emotional side of me, which I liked. And after that, MediaCorp offered me another contract. I gave them a number. They accepted it. So I tried it and I fell in love with it. So now I'm having a little bit of best of both worlds. In my free time, I explore my left brain. I continue to explore my left brain. And then when I'm working at acting and directing, I explore my right brain, which is my goal. I hope to be a full brain person, science and arts combined. And what I'm doing right now is allowing me to explore both sides.
Nice. One thing that I'm feeling ever since we sat down, even before we sat down to talk today, your paths have been different and you're all different, even though you're all actors. But each of you, all of you, you talk with so much energy and oomph, and I think that's a wonderful thing. We were saying, before we actually started the session, that it's great to be able to do what you choose. It doesn't mean it's not hard work, right? So I think that's wonderful, and it's also great that even just among a group of 4 actors out of many actors in Singapore, there's already so many differences, but also similarities, right? Some totally unplanned, some you knew this is what you want to do, but even then you didn't plan the path or chart the path. But tell me, again, no particular sequence, all of you have been acting for some time, right? How has acting itself, the acting world, the acting profession in your circles, how has that evolved? Is it still the same? Is acting now the same as when you started out 5 years ago, 10 years ago? How has it evolved in your own careers, in your own experience?
I'll go first because I think a lot has changed. It's very hard to be an actor these days because there's a lot of blurry lines, a lot of gray areas. You need to post about this to help to promote the show. You need to do behind the scene. You know, you need to have followers
Got to
before
do
you're
everything
being
lah.
cast.
Yeah.
You know, it is between you and someone else. I want to say less talented, but it's very rude. But I might be cancelled.
Yeah.
You know, so everything you say and do becomes very sensitive.
Yeah.
So the freedom of expression, because of the people fighting for freedom of expression, actually got lesser now. The classification is so blurred because you have influencers, KOLs becoming actors because they have a lot of followings. You have actors having to learn to be KOLs and creators. And if you don't laugh, and you have these people like we don't understand. And then sometimes we look at their product and then you say, hey, this is not acting. But then again,
Yeah.
but they have engagement. So acting becomes so difficult. I think the space is widened, but the scope of work, that means in the past, I
Yep.
get a script.
Yeah.
The night before, the days before, the weeks before, I understand my role. I get into it, write notes, you know, highlight, read what people talk about me in the other characters. The usual homework, turn up, perform, go home, go supper, sleep, show. Okay? Today, no. Today, before that, you need to post, I am doing this show. Maybe the script or something you flip, but don't tell you what it is. Teaser. Then when you are shooting, the manager, PA, pass the phone later. I'm talking to Siva, you take from their side. Okay? A lot of work is continuous work. During the shoot, again. After the shoot, then the production come and tell you, don't post until the show go on air. You know? They actually sometimes they shoot now, August, then they show. Then August, then you don't know below your photograph is where already. And you have to start organizing, dump them into this folder. So you know this one is for PCK, this one is for Our Boys to Men, this one is for Money Not Enough. After a while, you also give up. So there's a lot of work now being an actor. And when the show come out, they'll say, hey, rating not very good. Not many people watching the movie. Can you do something? And then you got to call your friends, hey, I'm going to post this trailer. Can you help me to post? Or when we see other people's movie, like recently King of Hawkers, I noticed that because they came after Chinese New Year, so they were at a disadvantage. And because I've produced movie before, so I went all out to help them. Whatever news they have, I just post. And I keep shouting out to people, we have to help each other. Local films need to help each other.
Yeah.
We got to help each other because I'm not in the show. I have no artist in the show, but I still have to support the show because that's how you keep the industry going. So it's very hard, you know, today to be actor and then you pick one fee for acting, the same fee. You have to do before, after, during. So yes, if you ask me, I spoke very exasperatingly, but I've come to terms with it. I've accepted it, and I think we just have to find a cleverer way and just to get everybody to support each other and not run each other down. That's my only gripe.
I feel it has evolved in certain ways. I mean, in terms of as an actor, for me to perform something, I think that has not changed. It is still the same, because you are playing someone or you're playing something, but be it on stage or it's the things around it that has changed. Like you said, you have as an actor, you have this to do or that to do. You know. But as a performer, I don't think anything has changed. I don't think you can't change that. You know?
Yep.
It's unless the performer, he or herself, wants to change something.
Yep.
You know, if he feels that, hey, listen, I'm not gonna do roles of such anymore.
I don't want to play villain anymore.
Or you know, I don't want to play. You know, then I think that is. Then I can say as an actor, or I would say, well, that has changed for me. My mindset towards something as a performer has changed. But evolvement, I think we have grown technically.
Yeah.
We have grown, which is applaudable. And I'm not in favor of AI. I should, because it is a lot of people also losing their job in that way. And I don't know. We have the kind of union or unity among the actors. I mean, we are evolving in that aspect, but we should also be mindful of how much is it affecting, because our industry is very small, and it should not, and a lot of people's livelihood can be affected by that. So for me, the technical part is my concern.
Actually, on that note, do you all feel that there are more people coming into the acting profession in Singapore now, or not so, or is it growing, shrinking, staying the same? What's the on that note?
I think it's blurred, as
blurred,
as
yeah.
Irene says. But I
Because
think
the barrier of entry is so low now, right? Anybody
because
with
it's
a
low,
TikTok
right?
account
and
can start,
also
right?
you know, it depends on definition, right?
Yeah.
Because I
Yep.
mean, is this acting? Is this not acting?
Yeah.
Etc. Etc. But I do feel it's changed. And I do think it's changed in terms of numbers. I do think that it is
Yes.
Grown, right?
larger numerically,
Yes, but
and there are perhaps more categories, or we are able to see now in a more detailed way other types of possibilities. But that's only because of size, right?
Yeah.
And because of there's
Yes.
breadth. There's sufficient breadth
Yeah.
that you can slice the pie in
Yeah,
this way, which I think perhaps we didn't have before. There's so many things that come to mind. Like I kind of feel, as Siva has said, that to a certain degree, the acting itself, for me anyway, hasn't actually changed. And the reason I say that is rather a choice, because for me, I don't want the acting to change. That's the bit that's my job. All the other shit, look, you know, if I gotta do it, I gotta do it. If I can get somebody else to do it, please do that shit for me. Because I want to do the acting. I want to do the real thing. I'm interested in this. And the only reason that that particular aspect hasn't changed is because I've kept it sacrosanct. And I've gone, guys, please, yeah, we can do all the hello, selfie and all that crap, but let me do the acting, please. And then, you know, we can do all the other stuff any other time.
Yeah.
You know, so I do think that the outside stuff has changed a lot. I don't know that the central thing has changed, but that perhaps is a question of choice for me.
I can only speak at a personal level, from
Yeah.
a personal level.
Of course. Yeah.
I think when we are very new in acting, you basically just respond to what you read and what you think
Yes.
you should do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a very purely emotional journey. But as we
And you're a
become,
literary guy,
yeah,
so
right,
that moves you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think as we go more in depth, or as we know more, we become more competent technically. For example, we start to notice the lights, the camera
More
position.
sensitive to
Yeah.
angles.
So, and then I agree with Siva and Yu-Beng and Irene that acting is just acting. It's like, if I can draw a parallel, it's like cooking, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you have char kway teow and you have char kway teow. But the char kway teow from this store and char kway teow in this store is different. So for me personally, what I've learned is that in different mediums, for example, like my acting, I've done movies, I've done TV and theater. So for me, it's different because TV itself, we have different shot size. And when I do teach, I always share that you need to adjust your intensity, your experience, or what your expressions are, depending on the shot size. Because if it's a wide shot, you can emote all you want, the shot is not going to see you at all. So, for example, if it's a wide shot, you need to have bodily movements to show your emotions. If it's a mid shot, you can have a compromise of both. But when it's a close up, you need to be really quiet and show everything in your eyes. And I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. So if it's a close up and you're like, then everyone's like, wow, OTT, right? So for me, I think what I've learned is to adapt my acting, which is fundamentally one thing to different situations. And in that sense, technical knowledge comes in very, very helpful for me. And I wouldn't say I'm compromising my acting, and being quite an introverted person, like Yu-Beng, I really hate what we have to do, or like other than acting, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Can we just act, you know?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I think in Singapore, a lot of times, right, we have to do things beyond acting.
Actually, not just in Singapore. I'm sure in Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, like,
worldwide.
they even may
it's
have,
everywhere.
they may even have to do more.
But I mean, there's the char kway teow and we want somebody to eat it. But then there's the whole marketing,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
shebang, right?
bangs, you know.
But I guess if we work with other, like my experience overseas is that we don't have to worry about hair, makeup, wardrobe, being on set,
Yeah.
everything. We just turn up and we act. So I think in that sense, I really enjoyed the
You're talking
journey.
about the conditions, but
Yeah.
because our market is so small,
Correct.
and so our budget is so small. Even when you go to Thailand, the condition of filming for stars is so much different. You know, you get your own trailer, blah blah blah. I mean, international stars like you all would know lah.
No, no,
I've only shot one commercial in Sydney, and I really understood. Like, I have a separate makeup artist. I have my separate restroom when I'm not in the scene. I got to stand in, so I could, when it's time for me to act, all I do is really like give my best. And I put an aircon trailer and all that. So I only shot one commercial in Sydney my whole entire life. That I understand. But I think for me, I'm just glad that the industry is growing. Honestly, not to uncut the IMD or whatever. I think the government tried to bring in jobs and all this. But my problem is the quality control is not there because people are commercially looking for numbers, KPIs. These words get thrown. I speak because I deal with a lot of clients as well, a lot of brands, you know, and it's all about engagement, about returns. If I sponsor this movie, you know, what is my KPI? And that's why the successful directors in movie might be cancelled again for the second time for me, are those that know how to make their brands look good. So are they necessarily good actors inside? Are they necessarily good script? It may not be. Some of the best script I have. I mean, just last
The
year.
package, you're saying the
Yes,
package
yes.
is
It's
really
all about
attractive.
packaging. You must have the correct, famous person.
How you package the char kway teow lah. Because our char kway teow may be the same char
You
kway
take the
teow, but
banana
then,
leaf, But the thing is with char kway teow, even you give me the banana leaf and you tell me it's the long queue one at the old airport road, now, which the standard has dropped. In my opinion,
Oh, straight away cancel.
yeah. No, in my opinion, everybody stays different. What?
Yeah.
I will still not eat already because I found new ones elsewhere already. Zion Road, Buk Telur Belanga, Pas Panjang.
Because our audience has accessibility.
And they just use paper and wrap, ma.
Yeah.
So because sometimes when you grow too big, also you become too packaged, also not sure.
So,
Yeah.
you know, Irene and Ping Hui, taking what you said, just extending that thing a bit. Now, besides having to do all this stuff and the marketing and because also the technology. The technology of media content creation across all the platforms, right? Whether it's TV, film, you know, the technology is by leaps and bounds is changing.
Yeah.
What impact is that having? I'll use the present continuous tense. What impact is that having on acting now? Is it making it better, worse, easier, harder? Because technology, I mean, in theory and in practice, people can use technology to do anything, right? To change anything, make it look better, worse, and even in some domains, replace actors. So how's that affecting?
So I'm going to jump in here and just so that I don't forget these damn points that are popping up in my head as you speak, and say that I think, of course, there are technological advancements that can be practical and useful and helpful to the industry, and they are happening, and that's ongoing. But I think what happens and impacts like everybody else is suddenly everybody's got a phone, suddenly everybody can shoot whatever.
You can edit yourself also.
You can edit yourself.
Suddenly everybody's a
you can-
filmmaker.
yeah, everybody's a filmmaker. You can call it content or whatever. And with no disrespect to those people, because that is a thing, but it enters the acting space, and it it's easy to kind of get a little cluttered about that. But I can tell you that within the actual industry, yes, if you're looking at primarily money, you may consider, okay, so and so and so and so. But the way that we're actually doing things is still based on the acting. So like I send in like a ton of auditions, right? Locally and overseas, all the time. And there are all these, sort of provisos that are given to you, like, do not post this, do not, none of this should make it into whatever domain, whatever, because there's a ton of people out there posting, oh, I did, here's the thing from my
I'm
audition,
reading
and whatever. But the quiet, secret work that we do continues, and nobody's posting that shit. But the work is happening, and it's real work, and you have to act, because the guy on the other end, hopefully, is looking for an actor to play this role. Because hey, I can get a million beautiful faces, but this one, I need an actor, and so the acting to me, industry-wise, hasn't had to change.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like in today's context, the barrier to entry is much easier already.
Yeah.
Well,
Lower.
because it's kind of
Yeah.
fuzzy, you see.
Yeah,
It's just kind of
And
fuzzy.
like even some of the things we do for Hollywood, the casting were done via Instagram.
Yeah,
You know, they
yeah,
just
yeah,
go on
yeah, sure,
Instagram,
sure,
they
sure, sure.
search something,
Sure.
and I just launched the app, right? It's anybody can go and sign an actor, but we are
And it's what you want. I mean, look,
yeah,
if that
we
is
are
what you
neutral
want, please
party.
take that.
Yeah, we're a neutral party. You put in your casting tape will show whether you can act or versus
What
another
your
guy.
strengths are.
Because there's also a lot of older people like that's retired because they get all these grants from the government to take up acting classes and all that. And actually, I just went for one from the Singapore Media Academy. There's a couple of old people like former architect or their dream when they were young was to act. And you will be surprised their quality is quite good.
Oh, that has value.
Because
that has value.
these people
Yeah.
from that age, they went and sign up a diploma course, 9 months course, to study acting at a proper school.
Nice.
And when I was there to supposedly give like a mentorship,
Yeah.
I was very impressed. So there are still people who are craftsmen. So there's the craftsmanship
Yeah.
in there for these older people. And so I'm actually quite delighted that in that class of 12, there's about 4 of them. So that's quite a big number.
I'm
right?
delighted to hear this.
Yeah.
Because art is supposed
And
to
even the
mimic life,
raspy,
right?
even the raspy voice, I was like, wow, this guy, where were you the whole life? He's like,
Yeah.
actually, I'm an art teacher.
Yeah,
You know?
fantastic.
But when I was like, young, then I have to be teaching because art cannot make money.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
so I think actually we have new people. We just have to find them. And for me myself, right, personally, my PA noticed this. I'm happiest when I'm on set. My managers also. We don't know why you're doing all these things, I'm doing all these business things, trying to help the world, save the world, put the thinking, my hero syndrome, come out, want to help all the people, people to start easier. But actually, my happiest moment is when I'm casted the simplest role. Irene, you play this. Oh, they take the script. Memorize. Recently, I just finished my first ever Chinese drama, emotional one.
Wow.
My son got depression, that kind. He didn't sing very short. Every day turn up so handsome. Got motivation to go to work every day. Long hours, same shit, different days. Then every day get corrected by Yan Xing for my Chinese. The shi and si. 爱玲是诗,不是诗. Yeah, so, but I returned home after a 12-hour shoot satisfied and happy myself. I don't know how to explain that. The joy of being scolded
You don't
the
have to
whole
explain
day.
it, like, we understand
Yeah.
what you're saying.
But you know,
Yeah.
but you don't know
Yes.
why.
Yeah,
It's
that's
you know,
why.
like recently I just finished a student film. And
Not
I
paid much,
enjoy, and I, sorry?
Not paid much.
No, it doesn't matter
Yeah,
because I
correct.
like working with students
Yeah.
because I get to
Energize
interact
it.
with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I like working with them also because their writing is this way.
Yeah.
Before they go out to the industry, it becomes this way, right? So it's this way, and I always tell them that I don't stop them, and I, tell them, I told the director, she's young, and she was telling a beautiful story, and she wanted me on board, and I said, I'll only do this film if you accept to one condition. I said, what is that? And she asked me. I said, you should not be afraid to ask me for 30 takes or 20 takes or whatever it is, till you get what you want.
Till you get what you want as an actor.
No.
She.
You
Oh,
get,
you
because
to
Realize
okay.
her vision.
yeah, because
To the
it's
director.
always the director's vision,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
We are bringing it.
Okay.
So I feel that what I enjoyed about it, that even though technology is there, whatever, you still need the basics to
Yes.
bring that.
Still a human experience.
Yeah, it's still a human experience, and that has not changed in any aspect for me. And I really enjoyed it. And she said, "Oh my God, I'm so happy that you said that because I was afraid
right?
Yeah.
that you guys, you're like seniors, or you all be like, hey, hurry up, lah." I said, no. I said that's my practice.
Because
My
that's-
teachers taught me that,
Yeah.
and that should be kept alive.
That's the
That
very
should
good.
go down. I said you should keep that to yourself. You should demand for what you want because you want your viewers to see what's the story you're telling.
Yep.
It should not be based on because I got this person, he can only take 5 takes.
Well, and also the thing is, we need vision.
Exactly.
So thank you for developing somebody's vision, because we need vision in the industry.
We need that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter for me whether we're having 5 cameras or, back then, of course, we didn't have the luxury of, now you can have the luxury of technically, you can shoot with an iPhone or smartphone, which I do welcome it. We have to explore things like that. And it's nice to act for lens. I do ask my DPs, like that? like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, what's happening? How much space do I have? You know, what are you on? 50, 25? What is it, you know? And it's also, as an actor, we need to, you know, learn these things so that we are on par, you know, with the crew, so that, you know, we are like working as a team. Because at the end of the day, the audience is not going to bother what happened behind, you know. Only there's only a small
know.
percentage will go and find out. You know, those days
Who's
we
the
used to watch the
director?
DVD, you know,
Yeah,
the
like-
making of or something like that. But nowadays people don't really bother. But
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
tell me a story, what's happening, be it on OTT platform, whether you're telling me a story for 6 episodes or in 2 hours, right? So at the end of the day, it's about what is being told. And I feel, you know, technically we have evolved and it's nice, and acting is still going to be there, lah. You know, I feel it's and nothing changed. You know, nothing, because I'm very proud to say that, you know, I acted in a Chinese drama this year. After so many years, I've completed that. That was the only language I've not touched. And I was I know
Surya,
Better than me, bro.
And you've
still
done
haven't,
emotional.
right?
No, one day I'll get you to speak. I know one of you all to
You've
speak
done
in Tamil.
Surya several times.
Yeah.
I'll take it up.
You should do it. You know, you should try, because they called me and they asked me, we want you in a Chinese drama. Would you be able to speak in
你会讲
Mandarin?
华语吗？你啊
Yeah, 一点点. So I was like, okay, let's. I was like, yeah, I'll take it up. I said, provided you give me a teacher to train me with the language. I mean, just the dialogue that I need to. It's not easy. I have to say, it is not easy, because it's a, you know, it's a language, and then, you know, the strokes you have. You have 4 different strokes, man. And I'm
Sounds,
like,
different tones.
Yeah, the tones. Yeah.
Tones.
And you know, so it is important, but it you know, it's so the only. So technically, you can put whatever it is, but at the end of the day, my acting doesn't change. I'm still that guy. I'm only who's emoting whatever emotions is necessary, but my language is different.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is. And it was a beautiful experience, and we shot it in Malaysia. Whether it's in Malaysia or another country, the thing is still the same. You still have to say and action, and then you do it, and all that. You know, it's so it is. I like you said. I truly enjoy when I'm on set, when I'm on the ground, when you sweat it, when the director says thank you. I'm like,
When you know,
I have to
we
say
are
this, it's better than
like
sex,
kids,
I'm sorry.
Like kids waiting for affirmation from parents. When you see the director go like, that's it. Or then you feel like, oh, shock.
I think also, I think all of us can identify with this. It's a very personal journey where acting itself is just acting, right? But there's a lot of other things that attaches or attach themselves to this acting thing, the main root, right? So, to become a good actor, not only do we know how to act, we must also know how to collaborate, communicate, to be technically savvy, so that we can achieve a synergy where we get better.
Yeah. We
You
will
know,
work together with
I've
people.
been asked this question before, that, you know, when you reach a certain stage as an actor, what's next? Yeah, we can keep improving ourselves, which we should do anyway. But I think the ultimate goal as an actor for us, all of us, is we should go on set, you know, and actually make everyone around us better.
Yes.
I think that should be
That's
the ultimate
my
goal.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, when I do.
I mean, I've been told before that I'm quite intimidating. Must be this stupid face. I'm quite intimidating when I don't smile, right? I'm like, so a lot of the young, yeah.
No,
I'll be
only,
okay.
only the young one feel that though.
So when I work with new actors and actresses,
They feel-
even new directors, right? Like Siva said, you know, the directors sometimes would maybe want another take, but they're afraid because who am I to ask you, Tay Ping Hui, to do another take for me? But I think we can all say, and whoever's watching this program right now, future directors, right? There is a very fine line between having standards and being picky. So if you have standards, that's fine. Right? You can ask us for another take, 10 takes, whatever. You know, but tell us what was wrong with the previous take, so we understand. Right? Because if you
I'm
just
very
go like,
thankful for
It's a
standards.
conversation.
one more, and then after a while we're like, what's going on, right?
Communicate.
Yeah. So if you tell us one more because
Oh,
then we
this
say,
happened.
oh, okay,
Yes.
then we understand, right? So just other than acting, I think another very real skill that all of us need to have, and we will develop with time, is communication.
Agreed.
With the director, with the cameraman, with the tech people, even the wardrobe and the makeup artists or whatever it might be. So back to a point where I feel like Irene says, you know, the the barriers are so low, right? We're getting all this influx of influencers and stuff like that. I think for me personally, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Because then now the platforms are so open, there are so many ways for people who wants to act to
Yeah.
come in. Of course, once they come in, right, is an ocean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? If you don't have the skills or if you don't have the talent, you will be
Yep.
you will
You
you
will
will
go
be
adrift.
drowned.
Yeah.
Yeah, you become a plankton or
I mean,
whatever.
people can use you because you have 500,000 follower, but if you don't deliver, you don't deliver.
Yeah.
And then it's actually everybody can see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, I think if you can act, you don't need to be afraid.
Yep.
Because the rest will go away after a while. And what is left will be those who can survive, those who improve themselves, and those who become actors that can benefit the project itself. You know, because I'm sure all of us have experienced superstars that come in and just actually they bring the project down.
Because of the aura that's
Right.
present, like the whole production team or the director is just going to pander up to this person, this one person, and then neglect all the rest, and then
True.
I have to fit the time of this superstar. So the crew, the supporting actor, all disgruntled, and the superstar come in not knowing her lines. Wow, these things happen. But like what Ping Hui say, there's a difference between standard and picky.
Pickiness.
Because I filmed with young directors before who, because they're not prepared, they try all angles.
Yeah.
Same line, they make me do 20 times because I want a close-up shot,
Yep.
over shoulder shot, top shot, down shot, below shot, group shot, 3 shot. I'm like, dude, didn't we have a good take already? She said, oh, just for safety. I hate the word for safety.
Oh, that, oh my God.
At least a person is being honest.
No,
I give you one. So yesterday,
I
just
agree with you.
yesterday.
I never understood that term.
Just yesterday, we shot a good one already. Director said happy. He said for safety. Then the for safety was done 3 more times. Then I said, didn't we have one? And isn't this for safety?
Yeah,
only?
the second one is safety for them.
Allow me to explain, okay?
Yeah, okay,
Allow me
okay,
to
okay.
explain. Sometimes when an actor does it, right?
Yeah.
And he's there, or he or she is there, right? 85%, 90%. But when you say for safety, you have that take in the pocket. You're hoping for one more better take.
Okay, so
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's nice. But you don't say that that's for safety.
Yeah.
You know, the safety thing
I
was
would
used
say,
back then for
let's
technicality
do, this is
reasons.
great, let's do one more greater.
Well, that's one thing. Yeah, that's one way to say
Because
it.
when you say safety, I have the
Communication.
impression that I already okay already what? Then why this safety thing got 5 more times, son? Right?
No, but for TV, okay, in generally for TV, I feel it's okay to ask for, hey, let's just do one more for safety.
Sounds better.
Okay,
Let's just do one
for
more.
TV because we have the tendency of losing our clips and things have happened. We have experienced that. I've ever had Siva, we need to do that scene one more time. I say, why? What happened? Or because the AD didn't log, or the editor lost
Then
it.
reverse for watching,
That I
watch
understand.
over, right?
But when it comes for a film, right? I guess I never understood because when you have a TV director who comes and does film, it's very different when they use the word safety, and I'm like, why? What safety? Because I can't do that same emotion again. I'm doing a copycat then. It's not honest anymore. It's not sincere anymore. It's very frustrating. It's very difficult. So I hear you. It's like let's say.
So if I may ask a question, right? For example, if you have to do 4 takes for a particular line or shot, would your 4 takes be exactly the same?
Never.
Or you always try different variations?
For me, it's never.
I feel that when I do 4 different variations or 4 different takes, if they're all 4 takes are going to be used, then if the person is doing that, it's a bad acting lah. I feel then you're not consistent. But at the same time, I feel it is difficult to also do 4 different takes because I feel like, okay, let's say the scene between you and me now. They're going to do a master, they're going to do a OS, they're going to do a 2-shot,
Oh,
they're
you
going
mean
to do that. So if as much as possible, I play safe by keeping my actions very minimal and have my intention straight and set like that. But yet I know for a fact that the moment it comes OS, the intensity changes, or because
So
the
I
director
guess
will say,
actually it comes down to what is that 4 takes for,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because if I know that you're doing the 4 takes for variety, then I'll give you variety.
Exactly.
If you're doing it to be able to cut from this to this and you need it to be the same so the damn thing cuts, sure. But just as long as I know what the cause of that
Yeah,
is, then sure.
But personally, as a comedian, I feel like that's why I said never the same, because as comedian, when you work as a group, right, it's like a basketball game which you're familiar. You need to always like throw something new to
Yeah,
the person.
yeah.
You cannot repeat. Then
Yeah.
then the reaction is not genuine really. For us comedian, that's why in PCK our best. We always keep the best. Everybody is panicking because Gurmit is the champion. He will throw you something, then you have, then
Yeah.
you like react, you know. So during rehearsal, can rehearse the whole week. Then when the live audience come, he will do something different, delivering the same line at the same spot but something different.
It could mean he's inconsistent, you know.
No,
Sorry, Gurmit, sorry.
no, it is even Celine does that. King Hua does that. I do that because for comedy it's different.
Yeah.
You really have to bring out something.
Spontaneous.
Yeah.
For us comedian, we
And
we
you're,
cannot.
You
you're
can't do
blessed
takes
to
in
be on a
comedy,
set
Yeah.
where you can throw and
Yes.
people catch.
And it makes
throw
it
back,
fun. And we
you
love
know?
to throw it at Pierpont.
What do you ideally wish for? What would your dream director be like, apart from having a vision, apart from telling you if he or she wants multiple takes, what was wrong with the previous takes? What other things would the perfect director in your own mind do or not do?
I think for me, a perfect director communicates well and speak the language that we speak as actors. You know, like say, I want you to emote this in a certain way and the emotion. And then when he or she explains it in a language that would gel with what we do as actors. You know, there are directors that speak in very abstract terms, conceptualize, airy-fairy concepts. It's great.
But you don't understand what
Yeah.
you're supposed to do.
You know, it's great, but as you listen, like I'm
Yeah.
like, I have no idea what you're saying.
How do I carry this through?
Yeah, it's like I want you to be like this, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? So in the end, right, we just and I just try like
Yeah.
this. So for me, a dream director is when they talk to us, right? We get it.
Yeah.
I mean, not for the lack of our capabilities,
Sure.
but yeah, we get it because they have come to our frequency and communicate at that level. That's why I think every director should experience some acting, so they
Just gonna
know
ask that. Yeah.
where we come from.
I find a lot of the directors, when they probably deal with like veteran actors, they are quite respectful and they let you play, you know. But I actually would prefer them to communicate, and I find it more effective and time efficient if they tell me exactly how they want it, you know, like what kind of direction they want. I don't like to be given free range, you know. And especially when you shoot Chinese drama where they have 3 different directors in the same series, right? There's inconsistency there. You know, for me, the best director is the ones that don't waste time, tell you what exactly they want. I can go there and deliver. But if they ask you to take different takes and try different things again, wow, that one very tiring.
It's
For
like
me,
they
it's
said, like, it's
different.
communication.
Communication.
Communication, I think.
Having a
yeah.
vision.
I
Vision,
think,
yes.
yeah. For me, I think it's quite different from
Yeah.
your point of view. I think that having a vision, and when I say having a vision, I think I also mean that your vision, that it's really vision, as opposed to mimicry.
Oh,
And I
yes,
think that we
yes.
have a lot of mimicry
Mm-hmm.
here. To be honest, I mean, every country has that level of work as well. It's just that it may not be the stuff that gets exported,
Yeah.
right? I think that mimicry is problematic. I think mimicry is fine within the learning space, and I think that that is a way of learning. But I think that if you want to get out there and you're going to make your own product, and what you're going to do is go on set and tell people, can you imitate, you know, that scene between so and so and so and so, then I think you are kind of shortchanging yourself and everybody else around you. So
Yeah.
that kind of vision. And I also think that for us, understanding of life. And I know that sounds kind of, you know, whatever, but the fact of the matter is that very often we lack an understanding of life, or our understanding of life is so shallow that you are going to go out there and put forward a piece of work that actually narrows my understanding of the world. No, I really don't want that. You carry on, you know, you do you, but I ain't going to be part of that project.
So, as actors, when when there are opportunities, say those for which you are approached, because I mean, I guess if you are the one making the first step to go and apply or audition, it's a different thing. But if you are approached, or you approach one of the talents you represent, and you look at a script or a series of scripts, right, or you look at treatment, whatever it is, and you are told who the director or directors will be, have you had instances where, on the basis of what you've read and been told alone, you decide not to take the gig?
Let me just say that any contract is an agreement between two parties.
Yes.
And so they gotta want you and you gotta want them.
Yeah.
And you should feel empowered at any
Yeah.
stage of your life
Yes.
to make a choice.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Whether you are the top dog
Yeah.
or the bottom of the rung, the bottom rung,
Yeah.
you should be empowered to say yes or no.
I guess what I'm trying to understand, which fascinates me, is
And sorry, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to cut you, and so yes, I have
Okay.
said no.
at what point? Just when reading or after getting into it?
Sometimes during negotiation.
Sometimes during?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, when you
when you
find
say
that this-
getting into it, you mean
yeah.
you started?
You start the shoot. Yeah.
Or
Oh,
then
no,
cannot,
no,
no,
when
cannot.
you start
because
the
it's not
shoot,
a
you
contract.
cannot.
But at least you've
Yeah,
met them. and-
contractually, yeah.
So before the contract, when you're
Anything before
negotiating,
you.
Yes.
you already
Yeah, yeah.
know this
Yeah.
party is
Yes.
a kind of people that don't respect actors or like it's all about
Yes.
my dream and my
Yes.
blah, like they don't want contribution.
Yeah.
I mean, the last thing I want is to work for a dictator, right?
Yeah.
And we do have dictator directors around, you know.
Who are?
On
Who
the
are?
reverse,
Name some names, eh? Who are?
on the reverse, on the real, I've accepted job without even seeing script, just
Okay,
based
yeah.
on who the director is.
Okay.
If it's this director,
Yeah, because something that you want.
Yeah.
I'm always wanted to work with this director. I've seen his past work.
Or you work with him or her before,
Oh,
maybe?
yes,
Yeah.
as well. You
Okay,
know,
yeah.
like Isan, I will every day. I will, you know.
Fortunately, I've not experienced that.
Yeah.
But there was one incident that happened that I'll never forget. It still tickles me. We had a script read. They've already asked me to come for that role. I was approached for that role, and we had a script read. And it's a firefighter's role. And after that, they asked me, hey, Siva, can you speak with that Indian accent? I asked them why. I mean, like, you approached me asking me to play this role, and no, we thought it would be funny. I say, your script is not funny enough. Like, do I have to put this on to? I said, no.
And then
I said, no. I said, I'll stand the ground. I said, no.
Understanding of life.
Yeah.
did they accept it?
They did. That's why I said I was fortunate enough that they tried, and so
But
they
you
didn't
made
get
the
what
world
they
a better
want.
place. So.
On the other hand, and there was another role that I was approached with, and the moment I gave them a bit of accent, reason being I was the sandwich clan. I was playing the sandwich clan that has moved in and lived here for about 25 years. But that doesn't mean I'll forget my roots.
Yeah.
So I played, but I didn't play it so hard, but I played it with, just subtle, certain words, I enunciate with the accent. And then the director asked me, hey, how come you got accent? Huh? Then I reminded him, you forgot that I am from India.
Yeah.
I've been living here. I'm a trader,
Yeah.
I'm a textile
It's
merchant.
part of the story, though.
Yeah, it's part of the story. Then it's so it's okay. It's not offending. I said, guys, you don't have to worry about
Because it depends on
offending.
the role,
Yeah,
right?
I said that's when
It depends on the
I
role.
know,
If you're a Singaporean SCDF fireman, then what's the point? Must have
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah. But if you're from Delhi, you're a new citizen, then I think it's
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when they approach you and then they come down with this kind of things, right? That's when
Understanding of life.
like I get typecast all the time just because I played auntie or housewife very well, and then every time I do something, they say, you need to tone down the sitcom. I haven't even started acting, people say that to me. I'm like, what kind of direction is it?
You know, experience being typecast or not?
I get it
You
all
do?
the
Sure,
time.
yeah.
I get
Some yes,
typecast
some no.
all the time. Like,
Absolutely.
every single time I'm that guy. We have a wonderful role. The security guard. And then I have a wonderful role.
You shook your head.
This
no,
one the hero. This one don't understand our pain.
What do you mean?
Maybe you just play the
pain of being
He is
typecast as a hero.
typecast to be the hero.
No, not at all.
You may still get that. Can you do the 999? Do you still
online,
get- do you still get that?
What,
You still
what
get
I
that?
do remember
on
is
stage.
many years ago when I joined the industry,
Yes.
The poster was so
MediaCorp itself has stopped producing period dramas.
Yes.
Right? The Kung Fu
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
yeah.
So I said, we should try.
Yeah.
And I was told that I just do not have the looks
The Kung
of
Fu
a period
look.
drama.
Or
But then-
But it's ironic, right? Because since
Yeah.
I've gone to China, all I've done are period
Exactly.
dramas. So,
But then it's all about makeup, right?
and also the acting.
Also the
Yeah,
acting,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I-
Particular style
but-
to it.
yes.
like.
But
Yeah.
I want to say that at that point, maybe in the early days, he may not have that maturity as an actor to carry out those roles.
Maybe.
to work
Maybe,
in another period.
yeah,
But
maybe.
right now he's such a perfect, and he's perfect in those roles
It
that he
depends on the
plays.
role also
The
lah.
place
On
that,
the-
that
yeah,
he
it depends
plays
on the
now,
role, right?
he
Yeah.
play emperor or something like that, right?
General. lah.
Ah,
But then again,
General,
also
yeah.
it's sad that it's based on their opinion. Like in Tamil side, like you will hardly ever see me play comedic role because they have typecast me to be that. Oh, Siva, are you sure or not he can play that kind of role? He must be that, that cannot talk one or something wrong.
Really?
It has to be dramatic. It has to be that kind of a role. But then on Five, I do everything that's funny. Like in a way, not like that.
Yeah.
Not like a sitcom funny.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
in
yeah,
another
yeah,
way.
yeah.
So it's like part of life. Kind of funny. Then I'm like, so then now it's opening up. So I feel like back then once they see you
So
in a
actually,
certain way.
what you're speaking to is, because you mentioned typecasting, is how people see you.
Yeah.
That those people, they
Yeah,
can see
yeah,
this,
yeah.
and those people see this. Just like those people saw that,
Yeah.
but these other people saw that,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's also speaking to maturity and what you're able to see in people. And I think that is an issue
Yeah,
in
yeah,
casting
yeah, yeah.
anywhere, here or anywhere else.
It's not just unique to
I mean,
Singapore.
if hell, I mean, there's all sorts of industries all over the world where people simply just cast racially,
Yeah.
and you can't see beyond that. And
Yeah.
and if I may just sort of digress slightly, I once did this. I once directed this play, and it was a one-woman show. And oh gosh, shall I say this? Okay, I'll say this. I once directed this play. It was a one-woman show performed by the wonderful Aline Mosbit, who is a phenomenal actor. She's great. We took it to a bunch of places, and very often in the talkback sessions, the play is centered around a Malay woman. It's performed mostly in English, and at the end of it, very often we would have people saying, "Why do you choose to portray us this way?" And of course, Alin would have certain answers, and I would usually say this, which is that the problem is not that we depict a particular type of person this way. The problem is that there's only this one story out here. Look how many of us there are here. There should be this many stories out there. We need to do your story and your story and your story and your story.
Yeah.
And it's only when we have that many pixels in the frame that we're going to have any kind of clarity. Because otherwise you can't see things in HD. You're just seeing this goddamn blurry, everything looks like a damn Monet painting, right? And there's no clarity. And until we start telling everybody's story, you're not going to get the kind of plurality and detail in our vision. And our vision can be really, really blurry. And I would love us to get beyond that.
So it sparks a thought in my mind, Yu-Beng, what you just said, right? Earlier we were talking about technology. So now there are many more ways for people to get the content shown and seen. Some more effective than others. The methods of monetizing those platforms are another story.
Yeah.
But getting the content out there are many more ways to do it. I mean, there was always linear TV, then there was film and the stage, but now they've got all this. The thought and question in my mind sparked by what you just said is, yes, there are so many more stories out there. There's so much more content to be made and disseminated and appreciated and critiqued and whatnot. Is the current day environment where there are so many ways to get it out there, is that helping that process of getting more stories told and seen, or not really? And if yes, why? If no, why not?
I still feel we're still not telling a Singapore story.
And representation counts.
We have a very unique country.
Yes.
We have Chinese, Indian, Malay, Eurasian all living together. We have that identity. A lot of countries don't have. I'm excluding our neighbor
And
here,
a constitution that backs it up.
Yeah.
And we need to
Yes.
champion it.
not
Sorry,
everyone. You see, an American will not be able to tell our story.
Yeah,
We
agree.
Or may have failed
that
to do
luxury.
so.
That's why I was in another panel. When I was asked to, they asked me, what would you like, Siva? I said, this is what I'm going around telling the next generation of writers or whatever. I said, don't be afraid to tell my story.
Yeah.
Just because you're a Chinese guy or I said, because then what's the point of you telling me? Because there's this writer said, well, I'm just scared to tell your story. I said, why do you say that? Oh, because I don't know. I said, let me give you a story. You see, I said, because don't tell me you don't have Indian friends. I said, let me give you a story. A very popular actor, Chinese actor, came to my house for Deepavali. And he told me this, Siva, I'm 60 years old right now. And I feel very happy today. I said, oh, that's nice to know. I said, you came to visit me, that's nice to know that, you're happy. But what is this happiness, this joy about? He said, in this 60 years of my life, I've never been to an Indian's house celebrating Deepavali.
No.
Yeah, exactly. That was the reaction. My dad was like from far, he's like, huh? But then I said, sorry, I'm not offended at all, but that's a beautiful story for me. I told the
person is
writer.
Singaporean.
Yes, a Singaporean.
Chinese celebrity.
And I said, I'm glad I broke that thing for you.
Yeah.
I introduced you, to that. It's a joy for me.
Yeah.
You see, because it'll be petty if I'm going to be, hey, walao, you are, that's petty. That's not, that's a waste of
Yeah, you
time.
got to see beyond that.
But I told the writer, you could do a story about that. How they integrated. What's the story behind that? What's the story when you see, it should not be where I'm still seeing in dramas where, we had to do that because we had to tell the prop guys, hey guys, I can't be eating prata every day, man, just because I'm Indian.
Yeah.
I'm a Singaporean. I'm not Indian. I'm a Singaporean.
Yeah.
Kids eat chicken rice also what?
I eat wonton mee.
Yeah.
I eat my chichong fan. I like my dim sum.
Yeah.
Why aren't you telling a story about that?
Yeah.
Or it should be part of the story.
Yeah.
As you and I, let's say Irene and I in a scene, we're talking, you should see me eating
Kaya
wonton mee
toast
and
or-
just, talking and all that. It should not be, special.
Yeah, correct.
That should be
Except
part of
for
the
like
story.
Muslim, then cannot lah. Must eat the
Of
nasi
course,
lemak.
lah,
or
but
the-
you see, that could also be,
That's
we
the-
should
another
say
story.
how we embrace that as
Yeah.
well.
yeah.
So I feel that we are not saying that.
What are the differences, both good and bad, that you've each experienced doing film versus TV versus theatre, or Singapore versus overseas? Any of those comparisons?
So my international stars,
I think in Singapore,
she never denied.
we tend to look at diversity in a very separate pockets, We always think that when you do something, it has to be separate from other things. I feel, at least I think Siva also is looking forward to it, is that we should celebrate our similarities more than our differences. And I think in many ways, what
Yes,
we
that's-
do in Singapore, we try to highlight the differences more than the similarities.
Agree.
So in Singapore itself, I think that is the direction that we need to go. Celebrate our similarities. For example, when I film in China, there is a certain, or rather, there's an extreme homogeneous culture that we're doing. Right, everyone's the same. We speak the same language. We eat pretty much the same food, and it's a celebration of that, which is okay because China fundamentally, although there are over 100 ethnic minorities, when you come down to it, it's the Chinese culture, right? So in terms of that, I think many countries like Japan, like Korea or India,
Thailand, Indonesia also the
Thailand,
same.
Indonesia there's this certain sense of oneness that they celebrate.
Yeah.
So for Singapore, we have this problem of diversity. And back to what I'm saying is that if we look at the similarities rather than the differences, we celebrate the differences, but we should merge these differences and celebrate our similarities more. If we do that, right, then we have that very uniquely Singapore identity that we're
Which greatly baffles me why, like, I just shot the Channel 8, right? Why you can't even wear a t-shirt with a cross, or you can't show you go to the temple, because our faith forms a big part of who we are, And then why in certain language channel you are allowed to go into a mosque, then the Channel 5 you cannot go to temple, cannot go to. So I find that very strange. The censorship is very.
You find that strange. You know what I find strange in a sense?
I
Sorry.
mean, we all have faith of different sort, or you may be an atheist or whatever it is, but this one is religious, cannot. It's a person that we know. We're like, hey, you come back from church, cannot wear a cross even for the t-shirt until now, from 20 years ago. But why?
No, like Ping Hui, he put it very nicely. When we celebrate our, differences or similarities.
Yeah.
The word is celebrate. It's not focus on why is like that. But celebrate it because differences are going to be there. But my if you like I was going to say that what I find strange. We being uniquely Singapore. It's a lovely country. I love my country. Okay, I'm not saying this because I'm on camera. I love my country because I lived in India for a year. When I went there to learn theatre performance or when I did a movie and all that. Yes, I like India. It's different and all that. But I couldn't find my Chi Chong Fan, man. I couldn't find my character.
It's just different, right?
I didn't find my Chinese friend. It's my Malay friend. It was boring after a while. It's like okay.
Because they eat the same type of food.
So what I want to see
China
for me,
also,
if you ask me, what I want to see is like okay, I have Vasantham for Tamil language. Yeah, you want to see, or you were telling an Indian story, go ahead, people, same thing for Surya, same thing for Channel 8. But when it comes to 5, I'm like, why am I not telling a story about, Ahmad? Ahmad is the lead. Everyone else is after him. Or why is it not about Raja? Raja, it's about him. Why can't I have like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, a sitcom about, this black family like that? Why can't I have like, for example, Raja's family, a sitcom about that? And I know for a fact Singaporeans will relate to it because your neighbor is an Indian. You're on the left is a Malay guy. We all live on the same floor.
Let's say if it's a sitcom on an Indian family, you want to know. Why my neighbor always do this?
Yeah, we all watch Kumar number 42, right?
Oh yeah, I was going to bring that out. Yeah,
things like that. Why can't we have that? So for me, it's like, so who's fronting that, right? Like that would be beautiful. So if let's say, when foreigners are here and they happen to watch 5, they will know that's Singapore. That's nice. I saw Singapore. It's like, they were talking about this Ahmad family and then Mr. Tan comes there and he's like, and then Raja comes, it's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. That is what we should sell. I feel that is missing.
Everybody's story.
We have so many talented people to tell stories and all that, but
do you
that's
think
missing.
Do you think the powers to be will be watching this part? I think that'd be great.
Actually, on that note, what else can be done for representation in terms of storytelling, acting, and for the acting profession itself? Have you experienced, I don't know, schemes or programs? I don't mean TV programs, but programs to help develop the acting profession in Singapore? If not, what could be done? What could be introduced? What else? I hear you loud and clear: identity, representation, telling Singapore stories, celebrating the similarities. I agree with everything. What else can be done? What are the gaps or what are the opportunities?
I feel it's actually inclusion.
Inclusion?
So whereas I agree with all that, I would just want to refine one idea, which is the commonalities.
Yes.
I think that it's not so much just about celebrating the commonalities, although I would agree with that. I think it's also that when the differences are there, that our position vis-a-vis the difference matters. Because sometimes when you take this dance, you are actually othering that person. And I think when we are including, then it changes. And it's just an understanding of how we're doing that. So for example, I mean, there's certain directors whom I really like, who in their work, let's say, include certain characters who they need not be this, but they happen to be this. And they are not the norm, but they happen to be this. And it is not a huge part of the story, but it's in the story. And you just go, oh yeah, well, we know that person, we know that single mother, we know that guy who whatever, we know this. And these are not the sectors of society that are normally presented, but they're in there.
Yes.
I know this gay couple living here. I know they're just part of our fabric. And until we wake up and have some kind of freaking, reality check and go, this is society.
Yes.
We are too damn immature. We are too damn immature to recognize every sector of our society.
Okay. So it's inclusion.
There's some people I won't work with because they're so anti-gay. And I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry, if you're so stupid, I ain't gonna work with you. Because, man, grow the hell up, right? But we are so dumb.
Yeah.
We cannot see that every single one of us is in this picture. And if you want clarity, you need every, 5.5 million pixels to be in there. We cannot see it.
Do we need more interventions in terms of not just the acting,
We need listening.
but listening
So
and
you
also
said,
in the
do powers
writing,
that be,
the
look at this.
storytelling.
I think the problem is that there's no listening.
Listening.
Everybody wants to talk, and
Yeah.
I think also in this day and age, when everybody's got a means to talk, it's really noisy. But listening, productive listening, cohesive listening is missing. And I think that has got to be part. You can't have a conversation without the listening. And unfortunately, that's missing.
I agree with you, but and something that we are doing now should have been done by someone else and with someone else that has the power to change. For example, just the censorship thing about putting your faith in, or decision makers that can create a sitcom about Indian families in Singapore, or gay characters being real in our dramas.
Yeah, and not just being there to be
couple-
lampooned, right?
and not stereotyping the gay characters as well, if there is. I think that is important. That why are you doing this and not someone else doing this?
I guess actually, just listening to all of you, it's also sometimes it's not the same thing to portray, include, depict, and to say this is right, wrong, good, or bad. It's just simply to portray, right? It's kind of like saying,
Correct.
I'm going to open a supermarket. Okay, I'm in a supermarket. I'm going to stock all kinds of produce in there. I think there's a fine line, and maybe part of the thing that needs to have more dialogue, more awareness is that just including or describing or portraying something is not the same thing as making a value judgment about it.
Yeah,
right?
Because you don't have to ram it down somebody's throat. But if you've got that product on your shelves, and anybody can walk in and anybody can select it.
Yeah, and if you don't want to select
that's
it,
already
that's fine.
egalitarian,
That's fine.
isn't it? Right? Because exactly.
Yes. What about this is something that I also have thought about quite a bit, even when we weren't going to have a round table. The profession itself, the profession of acting in Singapore, is there enough representation of another kind? As in, is it recognized as a profession? Is there professional representation, rights, minimum wage, rates, things like that? Yes or no?
Oh,
Is it great? No.
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 I think
You're opening the.
No,
yeah,
but
it's a kind of
It's a
work-
conversation that's been had a few times over the years.
Yes. And in this day and age, in 2024,
So
still
I
no?
think locally, right?
Yeah.
We have a conundrum
Yes.
of what we want to do or what we can do.
Okay. What do
right?
we want to do?
What we want to do is to be like a lot of other established markets,
With
for
guilds
example,
and,
with unions.
Yeah.
Not unions particularly, just maybe an association to speak for all the actors in Singapore.
there has been attempts.
There are, but
have been
they
attempts.
fizzle out eventually
Yes.
because it doesn't work, right? It didn't work out at least.
I think leadership and visions and sustainability is one thing. Since I came on this industry, there has been 2 or 3 attempts.
Attempts,
Currently,
yes.
we have the Actors Association, Actors Society. It's just that the people running it are also actors. And the first one with Jeremiah one, right? Only the theatre people
Association of
joined. None of the
Actors.
TV people dare to join because for fear of offending the TV power to be, or just cannot be bothered because they have a full-time salary. For whatever reasons. Then for us who supported, we feel like, hey, we've been supporting for a few years, but we don't get anything from it, So I think the people who organize should be a mixture of practitioners who are artists, actors, and also there's some leadership role type people. Because if you look at those normal people, like let's say the women entrepreneur or whatever, it's run by young entrepreneurs, but led by very experienced corporate leaders who know how to put things together. So I always find this association with actors, there's a problem. They are always very passionate in the beginning. There's a lot of problem they want to solve, but there's no plan.
I think it's a very complex thing.
It's so complex because it's so many people.
And I think it's
different
further
level.
complicated by the fact that you mentioned unions, that we have a peculiar Singapore situation where unions are a particular thing and they function in a particular way that is unique to us.
Yes.
Ever since the Malayan emergency.
Yes.
and hence doesn't have the same kind of
Union as per other
yeah. I mean, it's
countries.
not like a union in another
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
And so I think the powers are very, very different. I'm sorry, I know it's very complicated, but I'm just going to shortcut to this thing. That in the absence of that sort of like, affirmative action sort of union, which is not something that we have, and in the absence of a conversation that can really, I think conversation is something we need. The only thing I can say to actors, and I've said this frequently when I'm teaching, is that to a certain degree, look, if it's a free market, then your only power comes from being damn good at what you do.
Yep.
That is the only way you're going to get any viability. The only way that somebody's going to give you what you want is because they need you. And even when you look at something as massive, involving billions of dollars of revenue, like the SAG union strike that happened, which you
Yeah.
referenced a moment ago, the fact that it was resolved came from not just that, but from the clout that the actors had, because they had
Yes.
a clout in the industry. And if they didn't do something,
Yeah.
a particular state was going to lose X number of dollars, et cetera, et cetera. So that is where you have your power. To a certain degree, we're very small. We're not going to have that kind of monetary stranglehold on anybody. And I don't want to get combative about it. I actually feel that the only thing I can do as an individual in the industry is to be as good as I can be.
Yep.
If I want to be treated better, I've just got to be
Yep.
as good as I can
What
be.
about advancing professional development in the acting profession? Is enough being done? Can more be done? Or is there no substitute for just taking the hard knocks and learning along the way? Is there that kind of,
I think there are definitely advantages to attending to learn acting in
Yeah.
a formal way.
Yeah.
If you attend drama school or attend acting classes and stuff like that, it will definitely benefit the person. Like I remember even when I was like 12, 15 years in the industry, right? Whenever there are basic 101 acting classes, I would still go. Because every time you go, you kind of like refresh what you
Yeah.
already know.
It
And you
brings a
update
different-
yourself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pertaining to what we have in Singapore, unfortunately, the industry itself, the actors, we are price takers. Most of us are price takers. So unless you are, like Yu-Beng said, you are, or you establish yourself to a certain extent that people want you, and you name your price and they will take that price, then a lot, I would say, primarily 70%, 80% of the Singapore market actors are still price takers. You don't want to do? I'll go somewhere else.
Yep.
Because to be honest with you, in this industry, for the lack of a better word, nobody is indispensable.
Yep.
Nobody is
Actually,
indispensable.
any industry.
Yeah. So, I mean, depends, right? I mean, if you are CEO or you're that good, then you're indispensable. But in acting, you can just tweak a few lines on the script itself and change the whole character. So when we're acting, we need to be professional because you're only as good as your last job. If you screw up this one or you're a diva or anything and what gets out, nobody's going to work with you.
Yeah.
So it will only work if our industry work together, and then we have a synergy of each other's capabilities and powers. But at this point, nobody really wants to make the sacrifice of, I will not lower my price because that's what everybody is not doing. So it's like, she wants $1,000. I'll give you $900 so that I can get the job. So that is the issue because we're fundamentally, locally, we are price takers. So in terms of self-improvement, right, I think that it really helps, and because I've experienced it, and because I started at a point where nobody taught me anything, it's seriously OJT lah.
Yeah.
So I was just watching and learning.
Yeah. So I think to advance your skill set is to really expand the roles that you have, and with each is a learning curve. And that's the way for me. I've never had any formal training, right? So it's learn on the set as I go along,
So if we have more formal institutions where or courses that we can attend for those who are aspiring, those who are just in, or those who want to refresh their skills, I think it would be great, and I think we can have more.
We have them, but I mean, yes, I think we all can benefit from that.
Yeah.
But we are price takers. But I go back to the whole thing of look, we're here because we keep getting hired.
You're working actors.
We're working actors, and we've all made concessions. We've all taken the price. We've all whatever, you know. But the people who keep getting hired are the ones that we keep seeing. Why is it that we've got, you know, look, our sound guy today is the guy you see on every high-end set. Why does everybody hire him? Because the man's good. Why do people want single? Why do people want people? That's all I'm saying is that, you know, you just try to keep your own standards high enough that you keep getting hired. Because you are your product. We happen to be in an industry where we are the product.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's the only way we're gonna make things better.
Well, I mean, it really uplifts and encourages me a lot. I'm not an actor, as you know, but it uplifts and it encourages me a lot. Hearing all this, first of all, I mean, I this is something I will carry with me probably forever from now on. Just the reinforcement of the importance of conversations and listening. That's one thing. So I'm really glad we are doing this. Number two, I think this thing about just being ourselves, but also being damn good at what we do.
Yep.
That's really important. And I mean, I sense I won't put words in your mouth, I'll put words in my mouth if I extend your thought, Yu-Beng, that we want to be so damn good at what we do. Well, if such and such and such doesn't like the goodness of what I am, so be it. That's my own professional integrity and choice. My words, not yours, right? But also, I think the sense of, I heard a lot about inclusion, similarities, but just making sure that the pixels are there. I like that analogy, that metaphor. It was refreshing for me, this idea that when you look at, well, since we talk about channels, right? Channel 5, that's English language.
Which is meant to be the medium.
To the medium, the unifying, the common medium, right?
So everybody should be there.
But it was a new insight for me today from what you said, Siva, about, but then it should be everybody's stories, not just the use of the English language. And then the other thing from Irene about, yes, you know, all that line between censorship, portrayal versus making a statement about something. And then I'm really inspired also about the OJT, OST, not original soundtrack, on-set training. On-set training and on-the-job training thing, and yet the value of continuous learning. You know, as some of you said earlier, with this first roundtable of this nature, literally, and with 4 professional actors round the table, we could literally go on talking forever. But I have rarely, in my entire adult life, moderated a session I've enjoyed more, or learned more from, or been uplifted and encouraged more by. So thank you all so much for your time today.
Thank you for having us.
And keep doing it, right? I mean, I think we believe in what we are doing, all of us. Keep at it, right? Keep at it.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
only know how to say keep at it and 加油,加油. Don't know how to say the other languages.
Kampating.
Okay,
Kampating,
I like Xiaoyu.
You like
Okay.
Xiaoyu,
I grew up with listening to
what,
Xiaoyu.
what is the equivalent in Denmark?
Equivalent,
Yes.
wow, difficult lah.
Tambah minyak.
Tambah minyak.
Tambah minyak.
Hey, tambah minyak.
Why,
Thank
Tamil,
you,
why?
thank
Now
you all.
now
Thank
are
you.
making me
Thank you
think.
so much.
The
Thank you so
chemistry
much. That was
already.
great. You made
Thanks
my
to
job
you.
so easy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you all.